1941 wheat penny is one of the many coins in the famous Lincoln cent series. Most people know it as just a regular penny, but there are some things about the 1941 penny that can make it special, especially if you're a coin collector or just love finding rare items. While most of these pennies are common and only worth a few cents, there are certain factors that can make them valuable. If you find one in excellent condition or if it has a minting error, it could be worth much more than just 1 cent. The 1941 wheat penny is made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. On the front of the coin, there's a portrait of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. This design was created by artist Victor David Brenner and has been used since 1909. On the back, you'll see 2 stalks of wheat, which is why these coins are often called wheat pennies. The wheat design was used from 1909 to 1958, after which it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design. While the 1941 penny isn't rare, it is a part of this important history of U.S. coins. The 1941 penny was minted in large numbers. Over 1 billion of them were made, which means it's not a rare coin. In fact, most 1941 pennies are worth just 1 cent, the same as their face value. However, the value of a penny can change depending on its condition. Coins that have been used a lot and have wear from being in circulation are usually worth less. But coins that are in better condition, especially those that are uncirculated, can be worth more. A penny in great shape, with sharp details and no signs of wear, can be worth a few dollars. Some 1941 pennies, if they are perfectly preserved, could even be worth $5 or more. One of the most important things to know about the 1941 wheat penny is that its value can go up if it has a minting error. A minting error happens when something goes wrong during the coin's production. One of the most popular mint errors for the 1941 penny is called a double die obverse, DDO. This occurs when the design is stamped twice, creating a double image on the coin. If you look closely at the word Liberty or In God We Trust on the front of the coin, you might see that the letters look doubled. This error makes the penny much more valuable because it's rare. Coins with this kind of error can be worth anywhere from $10 to $100 or more, depending on the condition of the coin. Another possible error on a 1941 penny is a repunched mint mark, RPM. Mint marks are the small letters, like a D for Denver, that show where a coin was minted. Sometimes, during the minting process, the mint mark is stamped more than once, which causes the mint mark to look blurry or doubled. This is a mistake, and collectors love to find coins with repunched mint marks. If you find a 1941 penny with a D mint mark that has been repunched, it could be worth more than a regular 1941 D penny. If you find a 1947 penny with any of these errors, it may be worth considerably more than its face value. In some cases, these error coins can sell for $50 to $100 or more, depending on the severity of the error and the coin's condition. The 1947 S penny, which was minted at the San Francisco Mint, is often viewed as a little rarer than the 1947 Philadelphia or Denver issues, though it is still not a highly valuable coin. The 1947 S penny can sometimes fetch slightly higher prices, but it is still a relatively common coin and doesn't tend to be worth much more than face value unless in excellent condition or with an error. The 1947 penny was made at the tail end of World War II, and it holds historical significance. The 1940s were a time of great change in the U.S., and the wheat design on the back of these pennies was symbolic of the country's agricultural past. But the post-war years marked the beginning of a shift towards a more industrialized society, and in 1959, the wheat design was replaced with the Lincoln Memorial design, marking the end of an era. In addition to its historical importance, the 1947 penny is part of the long-running Lincoln cent series, which remains one of the most popular coins in the U.S. to collect. Many collectors seek to complete their collections of wheat pennies, and the 1947 coin is an essential piece of that puzzle, even though it's not one of the rarest or most valuable dates. The 1947 wheat penny is a coin that holds both historical and numismatic value, but it is not particularly rare or valuable by itself. Most 1947 pennies are worth only a little more than their face value, especially if they're in circulated condition. However, certain factors can make these pennies more valuable, including excellent condition or mint errors such as double dies, repunched mint marks, and off-center strikes. If you have a 1947 penny and it's in great condition or has an error, you could be looking at a coin worth more than just a penny. The best way to find out the value of your 1947 penny is to get it graded by a professional service, especially if it has a noticeable error. For regular 1947 pennies, don't expect much more than face value unless you find one with a rare error or in perfect condition. But for the lucky collector who finds a high-quality or error coin, the 1947 wheat penny could be worth more than just a handful of change. It could be worth some real cash. So next time you go through your coin collection, keep an eye out for any special 1947 pennies that might just be hiding some hidden value. The 1952 D wheat penny is part of the famous Lincoln cent series, which was introduced in 1909. The D means it was minted in Denver, one of the U.S. Mint's main facilities. These pennies were made with 95% copper and 5% zinc and tin, like most pennies from that era. The 1952 D penny features a portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front, while the back displays 2 stalks of wheat. This wheat design lasted until 1958, when it was replaced with the Lincoln Memorial design. A total of around 91 million 1952 D pennies were produced, meaning it is not particularly rare. However, the coin's value depends on its condition. Pennies in poor condition are worth only a little more than their face value, while those in excellent or uncirculated condition can be worth several dollars. Collectors value the 1952 D wheat penny mostly based on its condition and demand for the coin. A coin in good condition might be worth 1 to 5 cents above face value, while those in higher grades could fetch $1 to $5 or more. Coins in top grades, like MS-65 or higher, can sometimes be worth $10 or more, though these are rarer. The 1956 D wheat penny was minted in 1956 in Denver, Colorado. This coin looks pretty normal at first glance. The front has a portrait of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. Around his portrait are the words, "Liberty, in God we trust," and the year 1956. On the back, there are 2 stalks of wheat, which is why it's called the wheat penny. The wheat penny design was used from 1909 to 1958 before it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design. Most of these pennies are worth just 1 cent, but some 1956 D pennies have a rare error that makes them worth a lot more. This error happened when the design was doubled during the minting process, creating the double die obverse DDO error. This means that the design was stamped twice, causing a double image on the front of the coin. If you look closely at the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," you'll see that the letters appear to be doubled. This is the mistake that makes the coin valuable. The reason the 1956 D-era wheat penny is so valuable is because of how rare it is. While millions of 1956 D wheat pennies were minted, only a small number of them were struck with the double die error. Most of the coins from this year are not worth much more than their face value, but those with the error can be worth a fortune. If you have a 1956 D double die obverse penny, it could be worth anywhere from $25,000 to $43,000, or even as much as $78,000 if it's in perfect condition. That's a lot of money for just 1 penny. So how do you know if you found one of these rare and valuable coins? The key is to look closely at the design. The most obvious place to look is the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." On a regular penny, these words should appear normal, but on a 1956 D double die obverse, you'll see a doubled image. The letters will appear blurry or shifted, creating a ghost-like effect. If you look closely at the L, I, and T in Liberty, and the T in Trust, you'll see that they are doubled. This doubling is what makes the coin valuable. You might also see some doubling near the date 1956 or the mint mark D for Denver, but the most obvious doubling happens in the lettering around Lincoln's portrait. If you think you found a 1956 D double die obverse penny, the next step is to check its condition. A coin's value depends a lot on how well it has been preserved. Coins that have been worn down from being in circulation are worth less than coins that are in great condition. If the coin is in mint state, MS, meaning it has no wear and looks as though it just came from the mint, it could be worth $78,000 or more. Coins in good condition, with visible wear but still clear enough to see the error, can be worth $25,000 to $43,000. Coins in worse condition, with heavy wear, are still valuable but worth less. Even in poor condition, the 1956 D double die obverse can still sell for a decent amount because of how rare the error is. The excitement of discovering this coin lies in the possibility of finding a penny worth thousands of dollars in your pocket. Coin collectors and numismatists, coin experts, are always searching for rare and unique coins, and the 1956 D double die obverse is one of the most sought after. Error coins like this one have a special appeal because they are mistakes that were made during the minting process, and owning one feels like holding a piece of history. People who collect coins for fun or as an investment are always looking for these kinds of rare finds because they can increase in value over time. And the best part is that you don't need to be a professional to find a 1956 D double die obverse penny. It could be sitting in your pocket right now. So how much can this error penny be worth? It depends on its condition and how much collectors are willing to pay. But, as mentioned, the value can range from $25,000 to $43,000 for coins in very fine to uncirculated condition. In mint state condition, the value can be as high as $78,000, or even more. The rarity and demand for this coin make it a highly valuable piece for any collector, and if you're lucky enough to find one, you could be sitting on a small fortune. Coins like this don't come around every day, and finding one is an exciting opportunity for any collector. In conclusion, the 1956 D wheat penny with the double die obverse error is one of the most valuable and sought-after error coins in the world of numismatics. Its rare design mistake makes it worth anywhere from $25,000 to $78,000, depending on its condition. If you're a coin collector or just love finding hidden treasures, this is one coin you'll want to keep an eye out for. The excitement of discovering a coin worth thousands of dollars is unmatched, and if you find a 1956 D double die obverse penny, you could be holding on to something worth life-changing money. So, check your spare change, and who knows, you might be the next lucky person to find a penny worth a fortune. Penny is an important coin in the world of numismatics, mainly because it represents an era of transition in U.S. coinage. However, unlike some other years in the Lincoln cent series, the 1947 penny isn't particularly rare or valuable on its own. But if you happen to find a rare error coin or one in excellent condition, it could be worth more than just its face value. Produced by the U.S. Mint, the 1947 penny features the iconic wheat stalks on the reverse side, which is why it's often referred to as the wheat penny. The front displays a portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by artist Victor David Brenner. The design was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate Lincoln's 100th birthday, and it remained in use until 1958 when the design was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design. The 1947 wheat penny was minted in large numbers at both the Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark, and the Denver Mint, with a D mint mark. In total, there were 1 billion 1947 pennies minted, which means that they are not particularly rare. Generally speaking, most 1947 pennies are only worth their face value, 1 cent. However, the value can increase depending on the coin's condition and if any error has occurred during minting. As with most coins, the condition of the 1947 penny plays a big role in determining its value. In coin collecting, coins are graded on a scale from good to mint state, MS, with higher grades meaning the coin is in better condition and is worth more. A 1947 penny in good condition may only be worth a few cents above face value, while one in uncirculated or MS 65, mint state, perfect condition, could fetch a higher price, sometimes up to $5 or more. For example, if a 1947 penny is in uncirculated condition with no signs of wear and still has sharp, clear details, it might be worth a couple of dollars, depending on the market demand. On the other hand, a 1947 penny that's been heavily circulated and has visible wear will likely be worth only a few cents more than its face value. While most 1947 pennies aren't worth much more than face value, there are some exceptions. The 1947 penny is sometimes found with minting errors that make it more valuable. These errors can include: a double die error occurs when the die used to strike the coin has been misaligned, causing the design to be stamped twice on the coin. This can result in doubled letters or other parts of the design, making the coin more valuable to collectors. Occasionally, mint marks, like the D for Denver, are struck multiple times, causing the mint mark to appear as though this is a mistake made during the minting process, and coins with repunched mint marks are often considered more valuable to collectors. This occurs when a coin is not properly aligned during the minting process, resulting in a coin where the design is partially missing or off-center. These types of errors can be exciting to collectors and can fetch a higher price than a regular 1947 penny. If you find a 1947 penny with any of these errors, it may be worth considerably more than its face value. In some cases, these error coins can sell for $50 to $100 or more, depending on the severity of the error and the coin's condition. The 1947 S penny, which was minted at the San Francisco Mint, is often viewed as a little rarer than the 1947 Philadelphia or Denver issues, though it is still not a highly valuable coin. The 1947 S penny can sometimes fetch slightly higher prices, but it is still a relatively common coin and doesn't tend to be worth much more than face value unless in excellent condition or with an error. The 1947 penny was made at the tail end of World War II, and it holds historical significance. The 1940s were a time of great change in the U.S., and the wheat design on the back of these pennies was symbolic of the country's agricultural past. But the post-war years marked the beginning of a shift towards a more industrialized society, and in 1959, the wheat design was replaced with the Lincoln Memorial design, marking the end of an era. In addition to its historical importance, the 1947 penny is part of the long-running Lincoln cent series, which remains one of the most popular coins in the U.S. to collect. Many collectors seek to complete their collections of wheat pennies, and the 1947 coin is an essential piece of that puzzle, even though it's not one of the rarest or most valuable dates. The 1947 wheat penny is a coin that holds both historical and numismatic value, but it is not particularly rare or valuable by itself. Most 1947 pennies are worth only a little more than their face value, especially if they're in circulated condition. However, certain factors can make these pennies more valuable, including excellent condition or mint errors such as double dies, repunched mint marks, and off-center strikes. If you have a 1947 penny and it's in great condition or has an error, you could be looking at a coin worth more than just a penny. The best way to find out the value of your 1947 penny is to get it graded by a professional service, especially if it has a noticeable error. For regular 1947 pennies, don't expect much more than face value unless you find one with a rare error or in perfect condition. But for the lucky collector who finds a high-quality or error coin, the 1947 wheat penny could be worth more than just a handful of change. It could be worth some real cash. So next time you go through your coin collection, keep an eye out for any special 1947 pennies that might just be hiding some hidden value. The 1972 D Washington quarter is a coin that's often seen in circulation, but it holds interest for collectors due to a few factors. It's part of the long-running Washington quarter series which started in 1932, and it's notable for being a D-mint coin, meaning it was produced at the Denver Mint. The 1972 D quarter, like other coins from that time, is made from a copper-nickel blend and has a classic design. Even though it's not as rare as some other coins, collectors still keep an eye out for it, especially if it's in good condition or has specific errors. The design of the 1972 D quarter remains the same as earlier Washington quarters. On the front, you'll find a profile of George Washington, the first President of the United States, created by artist John Flanagan. Above Washington's head, the word Liberty is inscribed, and below it, the year 1972 is shown. The phrase, "In God We Trust," appears to the left of Washington's profile. On the back, the quarter displays an eagle in flight with the words, "United States of America," around the top and "E pluribus unum" near the eagle's wings. The words, "quarter dollar," are at the bottom, showing the coin's value. In terms of composition, the 1972 D Washington quarter is made from 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel, which was standard for U.S. quarters after the 1965 switch away from silver. This composition was a response to rising silver prices, which made it too expensive to continue minting coins with a high silver content. The mintage for the 1972 D Washington quarter was quite large, with over 350 million coins being struck that year. This high mintage means that the 1972 D quarter is not particularly rare. For this reason, most of these coins can still be found in circulation or in coin collections, and their value is typically only 25 cents in average condition. However, there are some factors that can make certain 1972 D quarters worth more to collectors. The value of the 1972 D Washington quarter generally depends on its condition and whether it has any minting errors. A quarter in uncirculated condition, meaning it has never been in circulation and has remained in perfect shape, may be worth a little more than its face value, typically around $1 or slightly more. Coins that have been graded by professional grading services and are in high mint state, such as MS-65 or higher, can also fetch a premium, sometimes reaching $5 to $10 or more. One of the main reasons collectors are interested in the 1972 D Washington quarter is because of certain errors that were made during its minting. For example, double die errors can happen when the coin is struck more than once, resulting in doubled lettering or details. In some cases, a double die error on a 1972 D quarter can be worth significantly more, anywhere from $50 to $100 or more, depending on the severity of the doubling. These coins are much rarer than the standard 1972 D quarters and are highly sought after by collectors. Another error to look out for is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin is not properly aligned during minting, causing part of the design to be cut off or misaligned. Off-center strikes can vary in severity, and coins with large, noticeable errors could be worth $20 to $100 or even more, depending on the extent of the misalignment. Other potential errors include clipped planchets or die cracks, which can also make the coin more valuable. While the 1972 D Washington quarter may not be a rare coin in general, its historical significance and the possibility of finding a rare error make it interesting for both casual collectors and seasoned numismatists. Whether you're just starting a collection or you've been collecting for years, the 1972 D Washington quarter is a good coin to look out for. The thrill of finding a rare error or a coin in mint condition is what keeps the hobby of coin collecting exciting and full of surprises. The 1983 P Washington quarter is part of the regular coin series minted in the United States. It features the classic design of George Washington, the first U.S. president, on the front, and an eagle on the back. The 1983 P is made from copper nickel, which was a change made in 1965, as the U.S. Mint stopped using silver for most circulating coins. The coin is not rare, with over 677 million quarters being produced that year at the Philadelphia Mint. Because of the high mintage, the typical 1983 P Washington quarter you find in circulation is worth only its face value of 25 cents. The coin has an image of George Washington's profile on the front, with the word "Liberty" above, and "In God We Trust" to the left of his image. The year 1983 is located at the bottom. The back shows an eagle in flight with the words "United States of America" and "E Pluribus Unum" around it, with the words $quarter at the bottom. The mint mark P on the coin means it was made at the Philadelphia Mint. The design of the coin has been the same since 1932, with only small updates over the years. The 1983 P Washington quarter is made from a blend of 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel. This was part of the change that happened in 1965 when the U.S. Mint stopped using silver in regular circulating coins. This switch was made because of the rising cost of silver and the need for a more affordable way to mint coins. Because it's not made from silver, the 1983 P quarter has no special value based on the metal itself. Although the 1983 P quarter isn't rare, its value can increase if the coin is in excellent condition or if it has minting errors. A typical 1983 P quarter found in your pocket change is worth 25 cents. However, if the coin is in mint condition, meaning it hasn't been used in circulation and has no visible wear or scratches, it could be worth $1 or a little more. Some proof coins from this year, which were specially made for collectors, might be worth more, possibly around $5 to $10, depending on their quality. Coins with errors are the ones that collectors get excited about, and the 1983 P Washington quarter is no exception. Some of the errors that could make a 1983 P quarter more valuable include double die errors, where part of the design appears doubled, misplaced mint marks, where the P mint mark might be in the wrong place or missing, or off-center strikes, where the coin wasn't aligned properly when it was stamped. These errors are rare, but when found, they can make the coin worth more. For example, a double die error on a 1983 P quarter could be worth $50 to $100 or more, depending on the size and clarity of the mistake. Other errors, like clipped planchets or die cracks, could also add extra value to the coin. Even though the 1983 P Washington quarter is not rare in general, collectors still find it interesting because it's part of a transition period in U.S. coinage. The year 1983 is significant because it marks the beginning of the modern era of quarters, with the change from silver to copper-nickel coins. For anyone starting out in coin collecting, the 1983 P quarter is a good coin to add to a collection, especially if it's in uncirculated condition or has a rare error. If you're looking for one of these quarters in your collection, remember that condition matters. A quarter in great condition might be worth more than one that has been circulated and worn down. Even though most 1983 P quarters aren't worth more than their face value, it's always worth checking for any errors, as a mistake in the minting process can turn an ordinary coin into something much more valuable. In the end, the